There we go, try that. Cross your fingers.
Cross our fingers.
There you
Oh, look at that.
go. They have it. All right.
All right, good job.
Careful, John. You won't have a job next week.
It's just my idea. They just did it.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Yay. Hi, I'm Olivia Burkhart. And I'm Jamie Thomason. And we're in 6th grade in Clearview Elementary. And we're going to talk about Clearview's Red Ribbon Week.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Use that one right there.
Read that one.
Yeah. Yeah. What is Red Ribbon Week? Red Ribbon Week is a week filled with events and activities in schools for drug awareness and drug prevention. Red Ribbon Week is a week dedicated to the memory of a DEA officer named Officer Salazar. On February 7th, 1985, while on a drug case in Mexico, Officer Salazar was kidnapped by several drug dealers. He was then severely tortured and was sadly murdered. He was only 37 years old. What did we do on Red Ribbon Week this year? We had different activities on each day of Red Ribbon Week. Some of the activities that we did during Red Ribbon Week were wearing our clothes inside out, dressing up like superheroes, and we had a dress-up sports day where we got to wear our sports jerseys. We also made announcements that contained information about drugs and the effects it has on a person. We decorated the main hall and made posters to encourage being drug-free. We held contests this year, such as writing and poster contests sponsored by the Elks, and Don't Do Drugs Statement Door contest with the 3rd through 6th grades. The K through 12th grade students wrote about healthy living and colored on keys, and the winners got an extra recess. We also had a drug awareness assembly at our school. The assembly featured 2 military trainees from the high school and also 4 band members that shared how important being drug-free is to them. There was also a police officer from Washington and one from Franklin County. The representative from the Elks was present too, also. Conclusion. We are so glad that we now have a whole week dedicated to drug awareness. We are also so grateful for the City Hall meeting and letting us present our fun Red Ribbon Week this year at Clearview Elementary. Thank you all.
All right.
Now, what's the cheer you do? Say no to drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Say
no
to
drugs.
we get the whole audience involved, I think.
Girls, you did an excellent job. So thankful that you came by to see us tonight and to share this with us. So good job, okay? Thank you so much.
Good job.
Whoops.
Any other public comments?
Signed out. Uh-oh.
Is there anyone else here who would like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Okay.
Report of department heads, special use permit withdrawal.
Okay, Sal?
We did receive a request from the Munzicks at 1209 Deer Run to withdraw their applications for a special use permit for a vacation rental dwelling. So if they were to come back, they would have to start over the process, and we'd re-notify in the paper and as well as all the neighbors. So
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Brinker, seconded by Scornia to accept the special use permit withdrawal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Ordinances, resolutions, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a service agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Morphotrack LLC.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer. This is the equipment for the fingerprinting equipment
Correct, for the police
for
department.
the police department.
I believe Chief briefed you on this at the last meeting.
Okay, any questions or comment?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a service agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Morphotrack LLC. Sullentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Atke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski, Waterman.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Landmarks Association of St. Louis, Inc.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
this is to continue the historic and architectural survey for the International Shoe Factory District. So this would be for Phase 2, and it is scheduled to be completed in August.
Any questions or comments?
What are the rough boundaries of that now?
Ooh, well, let's see, Phase 1, Phase 1 ended right at 2nd Street there, right before the shoe factory. So this phase will include the actual factory building itself, over to Stafford, to the east, Hyde to the west, and I believe Johnson Street to the south. I do have a phasing map of all 3 phases that I can send to you if you'd like to see.
Is it the west side of Johnson, or the east side of Johnson, or all of Johnson?
No, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I know Phase 3 in its entirety goes all the way down to 5th. I can't remember where 2 and 3 end, but it does go, the entire shoe factory will go from Front Street to 5th Street. The shoe factory district will. So,
Phase 1 was from Front Street to 2nd.
2nd, and then I can't remember the boundary between the 2nd and 3rd, but it will end up going to 5th Street.
And part of this is reimbursable?
Yeah, this is it'll be a 50-50 match with the state.
Okay.
So,
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Landmarks Association of St. Louis, Inc. Sullentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Atke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski,
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and McGuire Iron, Inc. for the Crestview Water Tower improvements.
Scornia.
Introduced by Councilman Scornia.
Kevin briefed everyone at the last operations meeting about the bids to recoat the Crestview Water Tower. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. There were 4 bidders. Low bid was just north of $598,000. They're using a drape, canvas drape style mechanism to contain all the lead-based paint. Work cannot start till after February 1st, 2018. And if there's anything else, I can definitely answer the questions.
Any questions or comments?
Completion date?
Completion date, that's a good question.
It says substantially completed on or before May 1st. Is that,
There we go.
that's what I'm reading, but is that
That-
completion or is that substantially? We have
Well,
to worry
that
about
would be, well, that would be coating of the water tower. The painting and everything would be done by that time. So it would be, they may not be mobilized off-site. So that's essentially what substantial completion is. There is a little bit of a leeway of us determining what that substantial completion date is. But
Completion
coating
date
would be
is
done, and the mixers and things would be in the tank.
Completion date says the 15th of May.
There we go. The actual stripping of the tower itself will only take a few days. So that's about really the high-risk part of the whole project, is that material has to be sandblasted off the water tower. And that's a few-day process. So if you have high winds or things of that nature, that's really what they're watching out for. So they have a little bit of a window there. So.
Any other questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and McGuire Iron, Inc. for the Crestview Water Tower improvements. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Hatchke?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Moheski?
Aye.
Waterman?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to upgrade the meter reader software module with Tyler Technologies, Lubbock, Texas, and amend the 2018 budget.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Okay, I will do my best here to brief you on this. When the meter reader software was updated, it did not communicate well with the Tyler software, so we were requesting to purchase a module to do that. They were not made aware, or Kevin was not made aware, when the software, the meter reading software went into use, that this module would have to be purchased. So what this does is it just takes the information from the actual meter itself and communicates it directly to Tyler for finance. And maybe Mary would have a little more information about it, but that pretty much sums it up.
Did
software.
Siemens have anything to do with that?
I would say this is probably a separate item from Siemens. It really is driven by our Tyler software in order to talk to that software. So it's not really a Siemens type item on the meters themselves. So I would say to answer no is probably the best way to answer your question.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to upgrade the meter reader software module with Tyler Technologies, Lubbock, Texas, and amend the 2018 budget. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Hatchke?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Moheski?
Yes.
Waterman?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance accepting the bid from Herb Equipment Company, Fenton, Missouri, and to approve the purchase of a 2018 John Deere 544K2 loader by the City of Washington, Missouri.
Scornia.
Introduced by Councilman Scornia. Tony?
This is the one for landfill?
It's the, sorry, it's the one at the recycle center.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Yeah, it's a 1990 model. It'll be 28 years old next year. We budgeted 160. It came in just over 160. We're going to get about 17,000 trade-in for the old one. I think in the packet there's some sale prices on some 90 model loaders. They're all around for sale for around 20, 21,000. So trade-in, you know, they asked 20,000. Who knows what they'll sell it for? So we think the trade-in's good. We are buying off the state bid. We didn't go with the most expensive loader. We went with the about middle of the road one. We like the John Deere. We do have a stack of attachments on it that probably brought the price back up. We got a grapple bucket that'll work similar to a regular bucket, but it'll have grapples on top to move and haul debris around. We've got some protective plates that go on it. We got some fenders put on it. We got a rear fan that blows mulch off the back of it like a reversing fan to keep it from clogging up the radiator and things like that. And we got a quick detachable bucket so you can drop the grapple and pick up the regular bucket also. So it was due.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Tony.
An ordinance accepting the bid from Herb Equipment Company, Fenton, Missouri, and to approve the purchase of a 2018 John Deere 544K2 loader by the City of Washington, Missouri. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Hatchke?
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski.
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a second amendment to PCS site lease by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and STC 5 LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, by and through its attorney-in-fact, Global Signal Acquisitions 2 LLC, a Delaware limited liability company.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Do you understand all that?
Mark?
Yeah, there's been a long-standing cellular side lease out on, I guess, Pottery Road or Clay Street, whatever it is. We've had an existing lease agreement with them since 1997. It was due to expire in 2027. They wanted to extend that out to 2037, which helps them in getting other providers who are willing to sublease on the tower, which is good for us because if they do, we get a percentage of that rent. It also increases the base rent to $36,000 per year starting in July of 2027, and then that rent will go up by the Consumer Price Index. And then there's a one-time $10,000 cash bonus for signing the amendment to the lease. So generates additional revenue to the city and extends the lease another 10
Does that
years.
renew every year?
What's that?
Is it going to renew every year?
Every 5.
Every 5?
And
Up-
you've been working
up-
on this a long time.
Yeah,
This
Jim
has drug
really
on and
started
on.
it for quite a while ago, and then we've been working on it off and on for several months, and we finally got everything to what we thought we were willing to recommend to the council. So the drop dead date is 2037. That's the very end, but it does have renewal periods up until then.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a second amendment to PCS site lease by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and STC 5 LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, by and through its attorney-in-fact, Global Signal Acquisitions 2 LLC, a Delaware limited liability company. Solentrop,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Patke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski.
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a quitclaim deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Gary F. Brahe as trustee of the Gary F. Brahe Revocable Living Trust under agreement dated May 7, 2015.
I'll drop.
Introduced by Councilman Solentrop. John?
Okay, this is the first of 4 ordinances that are part of the Bluff Road project. In order to get that project completed, we did have to purchase right-of-way and get temporary construction easements to get those improvements in. Mr. Bray was on the east side of Bluff Road, and the following ordinances would have the Candlebender property ZX gas station. So these are the 4 ordinances. This is the first one. This actually is the one that we would get right away from Gary Bray for a simple fee. So if there's any questions?
Any questions or comments?
We still on schedule with that?
We are on schedule. The schedule is getting tighter and tighter as we're getting closer. So this is right-of-way. We would have been happier having right-of-way completed approximately 4 to 6 months ago, but it does not slow down essentially the process of getting it done. It just condenses everything towards the end. So we are on schedule, but it is getting tighter and tighter. We did request a 9-month extension. I've been briefing you on that, and we were granted that extension, which that was part of the MoDOT Design Build Safety Program with the proposal of the roundabout. So proactively, we requested an extension just because we didn't know how that affected our project. I don't think we're going to utilize it, but it is there as kind of a safety catch. So this project will, I keep reiterating this will not be a simple project. That's a main access to our industrial park. And in the Vosbrink access west of town towards the west city limits, is not ideal. There's some site distance issues. We're actually paying a little more money for temporary signals, things of that nature. And the street, West Main Street, we'll see an increase of traffic. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that this is going to be a potential very disruptive project on the west end of town that is in dire need to get done. Those culverts, there's about 6 inches to a foot of separation between the culverts right now underneath that roadway. So this is something that has to get done, but it does pose some major disruption for a 2 to 3 month period of time.
How much ground is this going to consist of?
Sorry, property?
Yeah.
It's less than a quarter acre is what we're purchasing, so it's not a significant amount. A lot of it has to do with sloping. Since we're adding approximately 5 foot of elevation to that road, you have to slope the ground down. So that's really the bulk of it. And originally, the grant does not have funding in it to replace the culvert underneath there, but there's 3 72-inch culverts. If you were to get down and actually look at those culverts, you would see that we need to replace them. It does not make sense. They had 5 foot of fill over metal culverts that have been there for quite some time. They've reached their life expectancy. So I've received $50,000 from the Franklin County Transportation Commission. I've also moved some other grant funding that's an 80-20 from some different funding mechanism that's going to phase out in 2019. So I've kind of corralled in an extra $150,000 to get that culvert replaced. But it is a
What type of
substantial.
culvert?
It'll be a box culvert, concrete box culvert. So once we get this done, it'll be, 60 to 75 year culvert.
And have the neighbors been cooperative here, or we've met some
For sure.
resistance?
We've, the neighbors as far as directly adjacent to, they've been very cooperative. We started negotiation probably 4 months ago. We've had some other property negotiations going on, so we were asked as staff to kind of halt a little bit of that. But they've been very understanding. They're like any neighbor, they just want a fair price for the property, and I can definitely understand that. So they've been great. They've actually been wondering why we couldn't move a little faster. So we're doing what we can. But
And John, construction's from Memorial Day of 2018 to?
Memorial Day of 2018 through essentially the fair time, August of 2018. I am doing everything I can to push that up, to pull that up, though. If I could get this to go out for a start date of late March, early April, I will definitely take that.
Okay.
So right now, everything's going to MoDOT. MoDOT should have everything by the end of the week, and that's what kind of starts the process. They review the plans. That takes a month, then you got to bid it, then you got to accept bids, things of that nature. But we're hoping to pull that project up a month and a half.
And we'll make sure that the industry's out there informed. We've done some preliminary discussions with them, et cetera, so. But as it gets closer, we're going to keep reminding them.
Yeah, once we get the right-of-way purchased and the utilities start to get, things start to kind of happen, that's when I'll start maybe getting some more meetings scheduled with the industries, things of that nature. I mean, this will affect not only Washington, but the surrounding communities, everyone that comes into town, they'll work too, so.
We talk about a temporary light at Fossbrink and 100.
That's part of it.
Yes, we did. It's part of it. It's I'm going to say that I think the estimate's $55,000 for that. I'm working with MoDOT on trying to get some of the temporary portions of it to be permanent, because it makes a little bit of sense. But permanent signals, I mean, you're probably talking about a quarter of what those costs would be. So we're actually trying to utilize some of the signal control boxes that are at the existing intersection and just move them, so we don't have to pay for new equipment or used new that we don't ever see back again. So we're doing some creative things, but it's still costly.
Hopefully our industries can see a good use of the team track now.
That would be nice too, but I think more importantly, I think in talking with some of the industries already, they realize the value of what needs to be replaced there and how that intersection will be a lot better at the end of it, so.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the bulk of this project really is adding a westbound turn lane. You're going to get double the stacking of vehicles. So instead of potentially stacked all the way back to Westlink, theoretically, you're actually that'll be reduced by half. So I don't think it's going to solve all the problems, but it's going to solve a significant portion.
So you want Jake break?
Look at it that way.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Mary.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a quitclaim deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Gary F. Brahe as trustee of the Gary F. Brahe Revocable Living Trust under agreement dated May 7, 2015. Sullentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Patchke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski,
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes. By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary construction easement deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Gary F. Brahe as trustee of the Gary F. Brahe Revocable Living Trust under agreement dated May 7, 2015.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
This is just a temporary construction easement to allow our contractor a little bit more room and not damage adjacent property. So,
Any questions, comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary construction easement deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Gary F. Brahe as trustee of the Gary F. Brahe Revocable Living Trust under agreement dated May 7, 2015. Sullentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Patchke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski,
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes. By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a quitclaim deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender GST Exempt Marital Trust, UI Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001, Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender Residuary Trust, UI Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001, Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender Revocable Living Trust, dated May 19, 1987, as amended, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Condabender Family Gift Trust, dated January 2, 2002.
Who's that for?
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
so I guess the first thing we should do is give Mary a hand for that.
I got to do it one more time, though.
You got another one after that, too. So this is just the property owner on the west side. The Condabender property, we have to purchase some right-of-way in order to get the box culvert in. And since those grades are changing, the entrance into the ZX gas station would also have to change when you get a temporary construction easement in order to fix that problem. So have fun.
I assume this is about half the size of the Bray property?
It is, correct, because the actual center line of the road, Bluff Road, if you drive, the center line is here. We're shifting that center line to the east in order to get a better alignment when you hit High 100. In addition to the creek that runs through there, actually runs parallel with the road itself. So if you were to leave it in the same spot, you have to shift the entire creek over, which becomes very costly. There's also a fiber optic line that feeds the entire industrial park, and there's an 8-inch gas main that feeds the industrial park. So rather than move all those things, we just kind of stayed away from them.
Good idea.
Any other questions or comments?
Ready, Mary?
Try it again.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a quitclaim deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender GST Exempt Marital Trust, UI Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001, Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender Residuary Trust, UI Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001. Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender Revocable Living Trust, dated May 19, 1987, as amended, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Condabender Family Gift Trust, dated January 2, 2002. Sullentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Patchke,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski,
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes. By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary construction easement deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender GST Exempt Marital Trust, UI, Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001. Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender Residuary Trust, UI, Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001. Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender Revocable Living Trust, dated May 19, 1987, as amended, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Condabender Family Gift Trust, dated January 2, 2002.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
This is that temporary construction easement.
You got the easy side.
Sorry.
Any questions or comments? One more time, Mary.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary construction easement deed by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender GST Exempt Marital Trust, UI, Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001. Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Arnold O. Condabender Residuary Trust, UI, Arnold O. Condabender, dated April 11, 2001. Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Theola M. Condabender Revocable Living Trust, dated May 19, 1987, as amended, and Theola M. Condabender, trustee of the Condabender Family Trust, dated January 2, 2002. Solentrup,
Yes.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Pataki,
Yes.
Scornia,
Yes.
Moheski.
Aye.
Waterman.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending Section 300.020, Section 350.070A2, Section 400.185B, and Section 400.195G of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri pertaining to site distance triangle.
Brinker.
Introduced by Councilman Brinker.
Excuse me. At the last council meeting, during the discussion of a development plan, there was a question revolving around site distance triangle and what actually is it? How is it defined? How is it generated? I gave you a definition, I believe, of 30 feet. In reviewing it, we actually had another definition within the code of site distance triangle. We also had a reference to it that called it site triangle, not site distance triangle. So what we tried to do, what we did was, we took all those definitions, consolidated them into one, removed different locations in the code and put them in one place. So if you were to come in, try to figure out what the definition of a site distance triangle is, it's one location, one definition throughout the whole city, and there is no conflicting definitions. So that's essentially what this is. It still is slightly wordy because we didn't define how it actually occurs at radiuses on quarter lots, so radii. So that's why you'll see wording in there that says projecting lot lines, things of that nature. But it reads fine, and I think it's easier to actually develop what that site distance triangle is. So all it is really a code cleanup.
So it's more complicated than just 30 feet back from the corner, 30 feet back from the corner, and make a triangle. It's more than that.
Well, I would say that not complicated, it wasn't defined, it was defined as 20 feet in one section of the code, for example, and it's defined as 30 feet in another. So this is a code cleanup. What we really did was, when you say corner, and Mark can help me out here, but I actually like the idea, or what the code, or what this says, is that we're defining the lines as the actual right-of-way lines. So you can't actually put a tree, obviously, in the right-of-way, but it defines it at a legal point rather than a curve that can shift all over the place, and how you determine where that radius stops and where a straight line goes. So we can actually find a corner of a lot, a property line, and then that's the measuring point down. So it provides a legal definition, essentially. So to say more difficult, I don't think it's more difficult. I think it's actually more clear.
So it just takes out the ambiguity.
It's exactly what it does.
Any other comments or questions?
An ordinance amending Section 300.020, Section 350.070A2, Section 400.185B, and Section 400.195G of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri pertaining to site distance triangle. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Patchke?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Moheski?
Aye.
Waterman?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for the Brinkers Bluff subdivision, Plat 2, in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Sal?
All right, this is just a real simple boundary adjustment. This is, here's the Hummingbird Club, Penn Street, and this is the Riverview Park. John, would you mind clicking to the next one? Sorry, I don't have it plugged in.
Huh? You broke it, Sal. I'm frozen.
Didn't really have too good a look.
Where are those kids at?
Yeah, this computer's not working for us tonight, but, well,
I got nothing.
while it's loading, hopefully it comes up. This property line where this jog is, they're just extending it straight and squaring it off. So I do have the plat shown. There's just a simple boundary adjustment. They own both lots. They're just moving the property line over, so if they want to sell this off.
That house not there now?
No, yes, this is an old aerial. This house is gone. You remember this, we did a boundary adjustment on this just a couple months back. They
Consolidated.
made it look, yeah, consolidated 4 or 5 lots to make it look like this. They've now decided that they want to adjust that lot line again for future sale of it.
Is this on your jump drive, Sal?
Yeah,
All right, hold on. Let me. Sorry.
so,
Definitely meets the square footage for the lot.
yeah, this is R1B, so it's got a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet in both.
Barn excess.
Yeah, I would say.
So both of these are much larger than 6,000 square feet.
I'm trying.
But
They've got it within their packets.
yeah, it's in there, so.
It's in your, it's in your,
Make a motion?
Yeah, any questions?
Introduced.
Yes, it was introduced
did.
by Councilman Brinker. So, any questions, comments? Okay, Mary?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for the Brinkers Bluff subdivision, Plat 2, in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Patchke?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Moheski?
Aye.
Waterman?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending the 2018 budget for the period of October 1, 2017 to September 30, 2018 for the city of Washington, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
This is for our community development block grant for the in Shoals Industrial Park stormwater improvements. When we were putting the budget, or my portion of the budget together in May, we didn't know what type of funding we were going to be approved for from the state. And so now it's just a budget amendment to reflect what we were approved for, what we're going to be expending, and what we're going to be seeing back in. So I put in there a budget amendment for $850,000 out of the stormwater fund. That's actually on the high end. That's just to be safe because when we applied for the amount for the grant, there was some engineering work that wasn't completed yet. It should be less than that, but it just depends on until we see what they run into while they're on the borrow site and when they're laying the dirt. And then you can see there also is going to be revenue of $678,000. So that's what we'll get reimbursed from the state that they have guaranteed, so.
and the project's under design right now, correct?
Yes.
And when does it go out for bid?
It's out for bid right now. So it's already out for bid. Bids are due the 21st.
20.
So The reason it may end up being a little bit more expensive than what we originally anticipated in the grant application, not as much, not 850, but there were some downspouts coming off of the Frykes property that will now have to have concrete swales going up to them. And so that was just some concrete work that we didn't anticipate beforehand, so.
Any other questions or comments? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending the 2018 budget for the period of October 1, 2017 to September 30, 2018 for the city of Washington, Missouri. Sullentrup?
Yes.
Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Atke?
Yes.
Gornia?
Yes.
Moheski?
Aye.
Waterman?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
I just have a couple of items. The first is that our police officers are celebrating No Shave November. There we go. So for $25, they're raising money for a family here in Washington who has a child who's been diagnosed with cancer. So,
And council is more than welcome to join us.
yes.
Susan?
We had our female officers ask, we told them sure.
Anyway.
I think one of them's
Okay, so it's $25.
$25.
$25. So if
And we've
anyone
also
wants to
received-
participate, it's $25.
And if you don't want to shave, make contributions. We received several contributions from the community, so I think we're up to like $600, something like that.
Okay, very good. So it's all for a good cause.
Yes.
You
They plan
probably
on doing an after picture. The female in the after picture is going to have this big beard.
So we saw the picture in the paper, so your before picture of your group was in the paper, so anyway. Okay, and the second item is just to remind you that the appreciation coffee for those who do our Weeding Wednesdays and tend our gardens and things like that throughout town is Thursday, April 16th, so it's next Thursday. It's just from 9 to 10, so if you want to come by and have coffee and a pastry of some sort, and thank the folks who do all of our gardening for us. They certainly put forth a great effort to keep everything looking tidy, so that's Thursday, November 16th, so, and that's all I have.
City Administrator report. Energy Conservation RFP selection.
Yes, we've conducted, we went out for RFPs for energy conservation audit firms. We had interviews last Wednesday night with the 2 finalists. The committee met before our city council meeting tonight at 6:30 to discuss their thoughts on that. At this time, I think the committee has chosen to move forward with a firm called CTS Group out of St. Louis, Missouri. They are looking at part of this that we get out of this would be basically a free audit of our facilities, whatever facilities we chose. They did do a walkthrough. All of the participating firms did a walkthrough of the majority of our facilities ahead of time before they submitted their proposals. But with this, we can move forward with a letter of intent. It's not a contract. They provide that free audit service. They'll get down in depth with our facilities based on the ones that we asked them to go ahead and take a look at. This building will be included, for example, the city auditorium, other facilities that we'll ask them to go ahead and take a look at. Tonight, I don't really need an action item. Just want to let you know that we did intend to move forward with that firm and engage in a letter of intent based on the RFP process that we sent out.
One of the good things about them, just to reiterate, was the fact that this free audit, it's more things, we kind of have a good idea what needs to be done, but they'll do that free audit to know we can prioritize what needs to be done immediately and down the road. And I thought they did a good job of that in presenting. It was one of those deals where they can present what they think is a priority and then leave it up to us what we want to do on a time frame. So that was definitely a deciding factor for me. So.
They've worked with several other cities in the St. Louis area, et cetera. So they've worked with public entities of varying scope and sizes and projects, I think that'll be similar to what we're going to ask them to go ahead and take a look at. And this can also roll into the capital improvement sales tax, and we can go ahead and focus and do this in phases as we move down the road. So,
You talked about one of the buildings, the city auditorium.
correct.
What other buildings are there?
You've got City Hall, you've got the
Safety?
Public Safety Building. Some of the buildings that we didn't necessarily look at, we could also look at the firehouses. Any of the Public Works Building, yeah, the Public Works, parks, any of our facilities.
So if they do the audit, we'll kind of have
We'll include those.
Yeah, we'll ask them, we'll tell them the scope of what we want them to go ahead and take a look at, and they can do it kind of in phases. I don't want to get them too far ahead in advance, because you don't want to ask them to do just everything, I guess. But you do want to do some of the projects that we've talked about, especially with the Capital Improvement Sales Tax Committee.
Well, I was just concerned about some of the buildings that they're going to be doing is the ones that get used more than others. Because if you do a building that doesn't get used much, we don't benefit from it much. So I hope that that shows buildings that we use.
Well, the idea is to get those buildings back in use too.
Right.
And that's been the discussion with the Sales Tax Committee.
Well, and the part of this is that they'll bring that suggestions to us, but we can make that decision at that
Right.
time that,
Okay.
you know, hey, we'd like to try this new boiler system or this new heater system, and we can decide if it's worth it or not worth it. With this company, they were even more open to those different projects, different
Okay.
things,
I was
suggestions.
understanding that we picked the buildings already, but I guess not.
No, nothing, no project has been picked exactly.
No.
No, they were very partnership based. So they were very willing to work with the city to decide what direction to go.
What buildings first?
Yeah, they were good.
If that's all with that item, the second item I wanted to bring is the Capital Improvement Sales Tax Committee. I just wanted to share the schedule with the full council for the month of November. We've got a kind of an aggressive schedule of presentations starting on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The Finance IT Department, Public Works, Communications, and Police will all be presenting their needs to the committee starting at 1 o'clock, and that meeting will be, all of these meetings with the exception of one will be here in the council chambers. On 11/14, the Fire Department, Economic Development, and we'll also talk a little bit about energy conservation. That will be on the 14th here at 1 o'clock as well. Again, another Tuesday. On the 21st, we've got some requests from the Fair Board for some improvements to the fairgrounds. Downtown Washington and also the American Legion has requested some improvements for Runsick Field. That will be on the 21st. That's also at 1 o'clock, but we're going to have that in the Public Safety Building if we can. I think you were going to check on that to make sure we could do that. And because we'll have a luncheon in here for the employees that day, so we moved it. On the 27th, which is a Monday, prior to your admin operations meeting, we will have a public open house from 5 to 7 p.m., where we will have all of the projects that the Capital Improvement Sales Tax Committee has been discussing, and have another open forum for the general public. The good news, or the first, I guess, large forum for the general public. The good news that I also wanted to share with you, tonight, too, is that we've already got the link out for the SurveyMonkey website for people to go ahead and contact that and solicit their responses. I think over the weekend already, and I don't even know if the Missourian has published it yet, but Sal has already gotten 77 responses already over the weekend. When we went back and looked at how we were able to go ahead and get input from the general public back 8 years ago, staff went around and did kind of a traveling roadshow, if you will, around town and set up the projects and what we were looking for. At that time, I think we had about a total of 30-some people attended, 3 or 4 of those public open houses. So we felt that this is a much better way to go ahead and get the word out, get response back from the general public, but we'll also have the face-to-face public forum. If we want to hold another one, we can still hold another one at a later date as well, too. I just wanted to bring you up to speed as to how we're engaging the public also with this. So you want to give them the link at least?
Yeah, well, it's, so if you have Facebook, it's on our general City of Washington Facebook page as well as every affiliate. So it should be on economic development. I think Parks shared it, the library. So you can find it on all the subs pages as well.
Yes.
And then we can provide a separate link if you have constituents who are just interested, and you can send it out via email. So we'll also put it in paper form and stick it in the November water bill to be sent out. Anyone can mail back in or bring it to the public forum. But right now we're focusing on just providing it online.
The, also then on the 28th, on the Tuesday at 1 o'clock, the Parks Department will be doing all of their projects on that. Since the lion's share of the projects that we've identified so far are involved with the Parks Department, we've given them the full time frame on the 28th to go ahead and pitch to the committee. So I just wanted to bring you a schedule up to date so that you knew and the general public knows as well if they wish to go ahead and attend. Two other items quickly. First, I want to introduce Shauna Fitzinger. She's out here. She's our new human resources person, and Shauna just started with us last Wednesday. So anyway, we welcome her aboard.
Welcome.
And the last item, I just will, some council members had requested a copy of the compensation study, the final. So Mary had put those together for you and put those in front of you tonight before the meeting. And then we do need to have a executive session. That's all I have.
Okay.
City Attorney's report, I'm sorry,
wait.
council comments.
Council comments?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Anything?
I've said my piece.
New tree looks nice.
The new tree? It does look nice, doesn't it? It's a big, they put up the Christmas tree downtown tonight.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It's really quite nice.
Really?
It doesn't look like a Charlie Brown tree anymore.
No.
Some years. Okay, yes. Anybody else have anything?
Best fall colors in years.
They were beautiful this weekend.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I agree.
City Attorney's report, public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Zollentrup,
No.
Brinker,
Yes.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Radke,
Yes.
Gornia,
Yes.
Moheski,
No.
Waterman.
Yes.
Okay. I have to work.
I don't mind, we